For a lot of people diagnosed with bipolar, we live two lives. In one, our lives are polished, organized, and put together. In the other, we live behind closed doors in quiet desperation and pain. If it takes hell to truly appreciate heaven, I've been to both.
When we're talking about depression in particular, symptoms can include changes in mood, changes in sleep, changes in eating. You might feel hopeless about the future. You might have feelings about wanting to harm yourself.
You know, when we started Rebecca's Dream 10 years ago, I don't think any of us had a full idea or understanding of where we were going to go. And the more we do, the more we see that there's more work to be done.
Rebecca always wished that she could help people. Even though she was suffering, she was always the shoulder to lean on.
What we are doing is literally following Rebecca's wishes and her dream to educate as many people as possible. We're teachers and we're educators. During the 10 years that Rebecca's Dream has been a foundation, we have enabled other organizations through our grant funding to promote awareness and compassionate understanding. We have funded well over $100,000 in the past 5 years.
We've done a lot of outreach through theater programming. We've put a lot of time and a lot of effort into the website. We've got podcasts that are very accessible for people, and they tell stories, and there's all different topics that people can get to easily.
It's the emails that just flood into the website about how, Rebecca's Dream has saved my life, whether they were her age or if it was a parent writing in.
I thought of Rebecca's Dream when I read about yet another young person who committed suicide over the weekend. I'm reminded how lucky we are that our son is coming home from college tomorrow to visit, and he'll get an extra hug from me. Your perspective on bipolar disorder has really helped me through some trying personal days.
Because I didn't know what I would do when I was blacked out or just in a rage.
Her mother was finally able to help her. She linked up with Rebecca's Dream, a nonprofit group that helps parents understand teen depression.
We began a program called Teens and Transitions, which has helped middle school parents help their children through those transition years.
Well, when I was younger, I wouldn't really understand this or how it affected anyone my age or even what it was, but now I can see how it affects kids my age.
Every single time we speak or in public as Rebecca's Dream, people come up to us and tell us their stories. Everybody seems to be connected in ways they didn't think when they walked into the event.
I would first like to thank you for coming all the way to my school to speak. Because you talked to me about your daughter, her dream, and depression, I feel like I can really help others learn too, because of your opening my eyes to depression and bipolar disease. You should know that you really make a difference by talking to children and others like me, and you've definitely changed the face of depression. Know that what you're doing is inspiring and meaningful, and keep going.
People need to perceive mental illness differently than they do. They need to perceive it more like it's a real disease, because it is.
These are conditions that individuals are afflicted with. They didn't cause it within themselves. It's not due to being weak or too dramatic. And so it's really important that even though these diseases show up as emotional symptoms, that we acknowledge that they are real, just like any other type of medical or health condition.
Pulling oneself up by one's bootstraps does not work. Rebecca lived with a disease, and it wasn't until she educated us that we were able to help her a little bit better and a little bit more.
Some statistics suggest that only about 1 in 3 adults and 1 in 5 teens actually seek treatment, which is particularly concerning because what we know is there are very effective treatments. There are medications that can treat depression. There's a lot of research that shows that cognitive behavioral therapies and talk therapies are very effective in targeting symptoms, and that individuals who do seek treatment, as many as 80% of them, can experience pretty significant improvements in their symptoms.
It's always hard to know whether to tell or not tell, so I wait until I know somebody very well before sharing that I am bipolar. Unfortunately, the stigma still exists. I feel that my mental health is better than most individuals because of meds and therapy, yet I believe that I could be labeled if the wrong person got a hold of my diagnosis. Keep on doing the good work that you do and fighting the fight on behalf of those of us who live with a mood disorder.
Perhaps what sets Rebecca's Dream apart from other organizations is that we try to focus our message to the general public, not necessarily to individuals who themselves suffer, but rather from all of the other people, their family, their friends.
Sometimes when we know individuals who are suffering from depression or bipolar disorder, it can be uncomfortable. We don't know what to say. We don't know how to lend support. It's important to educate yourself about the illness, be compassionate, and not blame the individual. So sometimes just simply by asking, how are you feeling and what can I do to help you, can be very impactful.
Stigma is still alive and well. So Rebecca's Dream continues the mission to bring awareness and understanding and compassion to each and every individual and to their families and their colleagues and everyone.
All of our education, everything on our website is all funded by donations. The donations are really the lifeblood of what we do. It gives us the ability to get out and reach more and more people. So as we raise more money throughout the year, we have the ability to have deeper and wider programming.
I am a small voice, but I plan to get louder when I rally around my community to stand up and stop the stigma. Way up here in Maine, we're working to change the way society looks at mental health, one person at a time. Please know that I, along with many others, are trying to stand in the gap. If just one family is turned in a new and more positive direction, then it will all be worth it.
Rebecca came home one day. She was probably in her early 20s with a tattoo of a phoenix. And we, being the parents that we are, went, oh my God, look what you did to yourself. Well, the end of the story is she had been feeling really very, very good for a long period of time and was very hopeful. So after Rebecca died, we had no other choice but to use the phoenix as our logo. This phoenix belongs to Rebecca, and I wear it proudly around my neck as a constant reminder that from the ashes comes life.
We have attempted to continue the dream you had, Rebecca, the dream of a world where instead of secretive whispers and stigma, there is compassion and understanding. It grieves me to think of the stigma you endured, but I have come to understand, Rebecca, that we are working to help spare others our regret, to help them understand. And I hope that we can continue to celebrate the successes of those who struggle with mental illness but persevere.